The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Wrap Say here at the Duckman with special guest Troy Warner from the Paracave Podcast on. Troy, how are you going?
Going fantastic, Duckman. Another great round of NRL Rugby League and always some talking points to come out of it. So looking forward to having a chat about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kick off with the obvious one, though, the gift that keeps on giving at the moment, the Rabbitohs. How good are they going with trying to spear Jason Demetriou? Seriously, if you had these guys as allies, I think you might feel safe with the enemy, wouldn't you? So someone has put an information out. South keeps saying it's not coming from us, but it's coming from somewhere. Either that or the media's just taking some potluck stabs in the dark and making stuff up themselves, right? So they're really the only two conclusions I've got, unless Jason Demetriou is deliberately trying to sabotage his own career, right? Which I just don't think he'd do it.
No, I don't think he would. I think he's a professional coach and he wouldn't do anything like that, to be honest. And look, you're right, it is a bit of a circus at the moment. There was talk during this week just gone that Saturday night's game against the Sharks would be his last. He was asked at a press conference, is this your last game in charge of the Rabbitohs? And he says, as far as I know, no it's not. No one has told me anything. Russell Crowe is back in the country from doing a film from, I think it was Budapest. He's back in the country now, so I think he's majority owner, I think, of the Rabbitohs. So very interesting to see what happens now with him back in the country. And you're right, it's just there was talk that Mal Meninga was going to become interim coach for the rest of the year. And now I think the South board have come out and said that no, Jason will be the coach for the meantime. And look, the player disruption and I guess unhappiness. There was talk in the media today that that there was a video team meeting and notes out of that got leaked to the media. So that's very disappointing, I guess. I guess those video team meetings are something that should be kept in-house, and I don't know how the media got their hands on it, but they did, and it's out there in the world now. So they've got big problems, I think, at the moment, South Sydney.
Yeah, so I remember back in the day when South's come back into the competition. Now, Arthur Pappas was involved then. He's on the board now still, I think, too, Arthur Pappas. I didn't particularly mind him, except there seemed to be a lot of leaks then and people were alluding they might be coming from him. Now, I don't know where they're coming from now. They're coming from somewhere, and I think they might be alluding to him again, right, still involved, just because there's too much internal stuff that's coming out now. Unless they've got players, they're just pipelining this stuff too. So that could be the other thing. Jason Demetriou, I think he's going to get the flick, right? They've got a bye coming up this weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sit on it for a couple of days and act like, no, everything's all good. Bang, gone. So I don't think he'll be in charge when they take on the Storm for round 8. And I don't think he'll be there when they take on the Panthers in round 9. If I'm wrong, then I think he'll be there until the second bye. And if he doesn't turn it around by then, or state of origin time or something, I can't see how he'll stay in the role because they're just death-riding him too much. It's not good what's going on at the moment. So it is all this backroom noise. It's terrible stuff.
Yeah, look, I think it is probably, if you were looking to get rid of your coach, a bye week would probably be the good week to do it, if there is any time, a good time to get rid of your coach. But I think they'll keep him. Look, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but their game against the Sharks, it was a pretty, I guess, difficult game to coach with all the HIAs they had. But yeah, look, if they were going to do anything, then possibly this week would be the time. They've got a couple of tough games coming back, as you said, the Melbourne Storm and then the Penrith Panthers. So they'll have to aim up for those ones, definitely. But look, it's very interesting because I think Wayne Bennett, when he was at the club, he actually said that Jason Demetriou should be the next head coach of the Rabbitohs. So, I mean, you take it from a guy like Wayne Bennett, who's a master coach, a super coach, and I guess they did that, and they appointed Jason, but now it's just not going the right way. So it's going to be an interesting week, this one, and in the world of South Sydney, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. But he has won junior competitions and lower level things back, like New South Wales Cup level and that sort of stuff. So he's got the pedigree there. That's all you can do. No one has like 10 years of experience in the NRL till you get in the NRL. So I don't think he's done a terrible job. I still think that people like Cody Walker and that, who are good players, I just think they're starting to be on the slide now because they probably just got to the twilight of their career and they're going down the other side of that hill like happens to a lot of players. They're just not the same player that he was 3 years ago. And I think South think they've still got the same team that they had 3 years ago because they've got Damien Cook and Cody Walker and all this stuff, and those guys are just not the same guys anymore.
Yeah, they are aging, those players. I mean, look, they're great players, but there has been talk that are the players running the team at the moment and the club, and probably three in particular, Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, and well, maybe not so much Damien Cook, but there has been talk that those guys have been running the club and getting away with this sort of stuff, I guess. But I think, yeah, it's a very difficult one for the coach because why, in my opinion anyway, why wouldn't the players just want to win football games and potentially win a competition? I mean, halfway through last year they were top of the ladder, and then for some reason the wheels just fell off and they didn't make the finals, and they haven't started this year all the best either. So I just don't understand why players wouldn't want to go out and win these games. Potentially, even if the coach isn't probably doing the right, I guess, plays and coaching them right, or if the players don't agree with that, why would you want to be losing football games? I guess they just don't want to be around when this coach is around. So yeah, they think maybe if the coach isn't there, they get a new coach, then everything will be hunky-dory and they'll start playing football again.
Yeah, but you're playing with your career too, right? You only got a limited time. So if you don't do a good job, I might go, and it's not the coach, it's the players. And then all of a sudden you're looking for a new job and you haven't been doing a good job, so you haven't got as much interest. So it's a catch-22 that's not good if that's what's happening. I hope it's not, but it just looks like they're giving up. So we'll kick on anyway because we could talk about this all night. Absolutely guaranteed. So the Knights back on Thursday obviously took on the Roosters, and the Roosters won. My favourite player had like one of the games of his life, unfortunately, and stuffed my tips again. And the Knights went down 22 points to 20 as Joey Manu really has dragged the Roosters out of the fire in the last two rounds and won this one, and just missed out on dragging them back in against Canterbury too. So when you have a look at it more now, if you took Joey Manu out of the side, the Roosters looked pretty flat, didn't they, really? So if he wasn't in the side, I don't think they'll win the game.
Oh, definitely they don't win the game if Joey Manu's not playing. He ran 340 metres and was in and around everything. I think maybe fullback might be his favourite position to play. So he got that chance with James Tedesco out through the concussion protocols. I think Tedesco will be back this week potentially, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Obviously, Joey will go back to centre, and he probably won't have the impact as much as what he would have had at fullback. But yeah, definitely, if he wasn't playing, I can't see the Roosters winning this game. In saying that, I think Kalen Ponga suffered a hip injury in this game as well, so he wasn't the same in this game as well, but he marched on and tried to get a victory for Newcastle, but it wasn't to be in the end.
Yeah, so I think Newcastle are starting to get their stuff organised again now. The problem is they keep starting slow in the season. So Adam O'Brien must be I reckon he's about a 5-loss losing streak away from potentially being close to someone will be under pressure with their job too, right? So he's in one of those positions. Unfortunately, it's a bit precarious. So even though he has signed a new contract with the Knights. We'll kick on anyway. The Storm ended up getting up over the Bulldogs the other night, 16 points to 14, but they didn't do it the easy way. And the Bulldogs showed some real resilience to take it up to the Storm in Melbourne, and they nearly got victory there.
Yeah, they did. As I said on Friday night, the Bulldogs are probably one of, if not the most improved team at this point in the competition, showing some real fight in games, and I think that potentially could be the reason of Stephen Crichton coming to the club and just his leadership and being captain, a premiership winner. It's rubbing off on the rest of the team. But yeah, you're right, the Storm had to do it the hard way. They got the job done. The interesting thing for me, and I don't know why this is, and I think everyone else is confused as well, but Ryan Pappenhausen, he got a $750 fine for a hip drop tackle. So I'm very confused about how they can penalise a hip drop tackle with a fine. We saw Lachlan Galvin for the Tigers against the Eels suffer.
Suspended for 2 weeks.
Suspended for 2 weeks for a hip drop tackle. So I don't understand what the difference is between hip drop tackles. If it's a hip drop tackle, then why not 2 weeks? If it's not a hip drop tackle, why not a suspension? And why a fine? Or you know what I mean? It's very confusing. Like, you either suspend it or you don't. So yeah, very interesting one there. But the Storm, they'll be happy they got that win against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's right. So they're going to look at. I think the NRL, they're playing with fire here because it looks like that they're different players, particularly the real high-quality players. I want to see him on the park, so we can give him a bit of a fine. He's a pretty good bloke most of the time. Yeah, but it's inconsistent, right? So you need to either be hard all the time or give him a fine all the time, right? So you can't just do one thing for one guy, something different for another, and just mix it up like that. There's no consistency. That's what the biggest problem with people with referees is as well. So it's not the referees don't do a good job or whatever, although you'll speak to some supporters, they'll tell you they don't. But I've got more of an issue with the consistency across the board. So, yeah, I would like to see that. I also think it was funny that Ryan Pappenhausen said, asking if everyone's got $750, asking for a mate. So, yeah, all right. I mean, and someone apparently started the GoFundMe page and it's already raised $75,000 to help him get back.
What?
So,
really? I did not see that one. But I mean, I can understand where Ryan's coming from. He's trying to be funny online, I guess, but on the other side of the coin, people are saying that hip drop tackles are very dangerous and they can cause major injury. But as I said, I can see where Ryan's coming from. I mean, he's meaning no harm, obviously, but on the other side, it's the hip drop tackle, and everyone's sick of seeing them, and they want to get them out of the game, and it can cause major injury. And yeah, but. I hope that $75,000 that is raised obviously will pay the fine, and also maybe he could give that to junior clubs or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. So he should actually run a tackle. So, like, what I would get him to do, seriously, instead of a stupid fine, like $750 isn't going to dent anything that he does right with his bank account. Get the guy to go and do a week of football clinic somewhere with junior kids and teach them about the importance of tackling properly and not doing stuff like that. That would be better than $750 fine, which is completely pointless. And if that GoFundMe page did happen and it was $75,000, like I was told, donate the money to charity or something, would you? So seriously, like people with spinal injuries or whatever. So pick something, get out of the box and donate it to that. Donate it to homeless people or whatever. Donate it towards the people who unfortunately were killed in this tragedy yesterday. Whatever you want to do, right? So don't just give it to the NRL. That's just dumb. Send it somewhere useful and do something useful with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if NRL fines can be paid by GoFundMe pages, by fans and people. Certainly, there probably would be a lot of fans who'd start up a GoFundMe page for their team's players, and I can't see that happening with fines being paid by GoFundMe pages by fans. I mean, Parramatta fans, they maybe would have started up one for Ryan Madison last year, but they just have to donate that money to, as I said, junior clubs who are doing it tough.
Yeah, that's right. I still don't understand why he went, I'll take the 3-week suspension because I want the $4,000. Like, seriously? That's a good trade for you, is it? No, I don't think so. I would have given up the money. Going, I'll be playing again next week. Thanks, boys. So don't worry about the $4,000 or whatever. Like, it wasn't even that big, really. Next game, the Broncos beat the Dolphins. So I predicted that the other night. That was close. This game was pretty close. I was watching it after the game at Windsor Bowling Club for a little while with some rugby guys, and 28-14, but that's not a reflection of how close the game actually was for the majority of the game.
Yeah, look, it was only 6-4 at half-time, and it ended up being 28 points to 14 in favour of the Broncos, so they won the Battle of Brisbane again. And as you said, very close game. I think the Broncos, they scored 3 quick tries, 2 to Selwyn Cobbo and 1 to Reece Walsh, 51, 54, 58th minute. So those 3 quick tries really killed the Dolphins, unfortunately. And the Broncos, without Adam Reynolds at Suncorp Stadium, the return of Reece Walsh got the win, which was most important for them, obviously. The Dolphins, unfortunately, they suffered a lot of injuries out of this game. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, he's gone with a hamstring injury for an extended period. Tom Flegler, he was a late scratching from this game with a shoulder injury. He was going to play, but then was ruled out. And obviously, Herbie Farnworth, he didn't play, but he's still out for a number of weeks. And there was a few others as well. So they've got a few injury concerns, the Dolphins, at the moment, and they're going to find it a bit tough. Their depth will be tested now to try and find players for those positions. And as I said, they're going to have to try and get through this injury period, this injury crisis that they have at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? They're going to struggle a little bit there. I did see the hit that got put on Reece Walsh late in the game. So got hit off the ball before he received it. And Anthony Milford, who's one of my favourite players too, because I just love the guy, put a hit on, and I thought it was hilarious. All these women are going, oh, it can't hit Paul Reece without the ball. Like, what, he thought he'd receive the ball. It just put a tackle on, right? And just, he got it right too. They put it right on the mark. Reece Walsh was expecting to get the ball too, so I think he could see it coming, and he didn't miss Anthony Milford. So that's about the only good thing I've seen him do since he's left Canberra. And I was very amused. And all these women said that Anthony Milford should get banned because they hit Paul Reece. No, whatever. He's playing rugby league. Just need to deal with it. It's not like he smashed his head off or something like that. So, what did you make of that? You think that was fair enough, so that it got put on?
Well, not really. I mean, you can't tackle someone without the ball, but I guess maybe Anthony Milford didn't see that he didn't have the ball, and that's why he went for the tackle. But adding to the injury crisis that the Dolphins have got now that Milford's suspended as well, so that doesn't help their cause too much. So they're just going to have to find another player to fill his position now too. So as I said, he may not have seen that Reece didn't have the ball, but it's rugby league as well. He's trying to take out a playmaker, maybe. Who knows? But could have just been an honest mistake, and he didn't see that he didn't have the ball. Who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't have pulled out of the tackle even if he had it. No, didn't have it or anything. I would have gone, I've come this far, mate. You're going to wear this one. So see you later. Just deal with it, right? Next game. So this was the weirdest game, right? The Warriors against the Seagulls. Sean Johnson's trying to have a 40-metre shot at goals. Who was the man? It was a Locatell that came through and tried to put the hit on Sean Johnson. Hit his foot, gave away a penalty when the Seagulls were up by 2 with 10 seconds to go or something. Then they had a draw and went to Golden Point extra time. There's nothing else in it, so it ended up 22-all. Was that the weirdest game that's been on for a while or what? I seriously thought the Warriors would win it, and they should have lost for all money, seriously. And Manly stuffed it up.
Yeah, well, Manly were storming away with it 2 tries to Daly Cherry Evans. Tommy Talau got one as well, all within half an hour before the Warriors even got it started scoring. And, yeah, Josh Alloway, I think it was, who went to charge down the ball from Sean Johnson, and he was the one who got penalised for it. Already a bit of controversial talk about that one, and in my opinion, yes, so there should be. A lot of people are saying that it's a penalty in rugby league any day of the week, and look, it is a penalty in rugby league, but he was not going for the legs to hurt Sean Johnson. He was going for the ball to try and charge that down. He was competing for the ball. Joey John said on the footy show this morning that he doesn't think that it was a penalty. He was competing for the ball. So sometimes I think, look, charge downs can go wrong. Brad Fittler's on the other side of the coin. He says, yes, it's a penalty. Even if you are competing for the ball, then things can go wrong and they need to be penalised. But so you got half the rugby league community on one side, you got half on the other side, so that'll be a talking point throughout the week as well. I don't think it should have been a penalty. He was going for the ball. There was no malice intended. He wasn't trying to hurt Sean Johnson, but rules are rules, and Sean Johnson or New Zealand got the penalty, and they drew it up, and then it was a field goal shootout. Manly had 2 shots at 2-point field goals. The Warriors had 1, and the Warriors had a 1-point field goal attempt as well. So the first draw of the season, 22 all, which now means that both teams go on a odd number of points, 7 points on the ladder. So that's going to play out interesting throughout the year.
Yeah, I just reckon there should be draws altogether. Just bring it back in, right? So if you draw it full time, just draw it full time. Like, it's actually key strategic points. I know people saying, "Oh, there too many draws years ago" and that sort of stuff, but it's got its place, right, to have a draw. If it can end up at a draw after 10 minutes of extra time, just leave it a draw after 80 minutes. What bother flogging the guys out for another 10 minutes? It's just pointless. So may as well just let it be a draw and move forward. So teams will look at all that sort of stuff and try to work out who they can get results against and try to work that in throughout the season. So I don't mind that it was a draw, but like, why bother taking an extra 10 minutes of extra time for no reason?
Well, again, referencing Joey Johns, he'd like to see it go to golden try instead of field goal, because we do see a lot of golden point games. The teams just try and get the ball down the other end, and then they kick a field goal to try and win the game. What about the thought of maybe potentially, if it does end up the same score after 80 minutes, then you do go to golden point, but you award 1 point for a field goal to win the game, you award 2 points for a golden point try to win the game. Something like that to maybe encourage a bit more play with the ball. Rather than kicking a field goal, you get 2 points on the ladder instead of 1. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that one?
So I reckon you should take the 2 best playmakers of every side off and set it up so that only people can take field goals or props. And they have to kick them from outside the 20, and it can't be on last tackle, so it has to be early. And if any other player than prop kicks the ball in the last 10 minutes there, extra time, you get sim bin for it, right? And the penalty goes right in front of the sticks. So the only person that can take the kick is the prop as well. So,
well, that's very interesting. That'd be entertainment for sure. And I know that the NRL are saying that a golden point is entertainment for fans, so that would be certainly entertaining, and I would like to see, and I'd have my money on Junior Paolo goal kicking for Parramatta, because I've seen him do it from the sideline before, so that's who my money would be on.
Yeah, I've seen him do a couple of videos too. He's actually fairly handy, right, at curling them in. Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be good there. This next game, so the Eels, they stuffed me tips too, I think. I'm pretty sure I bet on the Cowboys and the Eels got up 27 points to 20. What did you make of this one, Troy?
Well, it was good for Parramatta to get a win. All the old boys were at CommBank Stadium. They had the Parramatta reunion, the Blue and Gold Alliance. They all get together once a year, so they were in attendance. So it was great to see the legends. They do a lap of honour of the ground, and they do a line of honour when the teams run out. So it was great to see them there, and a big confidence boost for the Eels, who have been under pressure for the last couple of weeks after a couple of losses. They got flogged by Canberra last week, and they lost by 1 point to the Tigers the week before. So a good confidence booster there, whilst Mitch Moses is still out with injury. Clint Gutherson had the game of his life. I think he was just in and around everything, and like you said about Joey Manu for the Roosters, I think if Clint Gutherson wasn't playing for the Parramatta Eels at the same time Mitch Moses wasn't playing, then Parramatta would be losing these games, because his leadership is just second to none. Dejan Arce came in for Blaze Talangi, and he just he was the one he scored a try and kicked the field goal as well, so it looked like he was in one of his favourite positions and just showed a bit more leadership and organising around the park, and that may be the halves combination coming through for the rest of the year with Mitchell Moses, or until Mitchell Moses comes back. For the Cowboys, they are an interesting team because they've scored the most points in the competition, and I think they've let in the second most points. So they're not afraid to let in points because they know that they can score points. Unfortunately, on Saturday night, it wasn't enough points to beat Parramatta. It was 4 tries all. Valentine Holmes missed a couple of conversions as well. So it was 14-10 at half time to the Eels. It was still anybody's game, but good to see Parramatta get a win.
Yeah, that's right. So it was a good result there for the Eels. For the Cowboys, yeah, they can score some points, but they can give up a few too. So they're going to have problems. Like, this is what's going to stop them from doing anything major in the comp at the moment, right? They can score a stack of points, but they leak them hard too, and give up what really are some fairly soft tries and stuff like that. If they were they're going to have problems against Melbourne Storm or Penrith or one of the real top sides that's in top form, like even the Broncos. Well, they played the Broncos the other week and the Broncos whacked them. So they're playing Penrith and Melbourne Storm. They better learn how to tackle, or they're going to be getting 40 put on them. So they're really susceptible to that. But I also think they're good for what they did against the Eels. They could probably very regularly get 20-something as well, right? So if the other side's not on song, I think they're a bit of a momentum team. If they get in front early, they might be able to roll you on your back and you have problems. The next game here, so my favourite side at the moment, the Rabbitohs up against the Sharks, and the Rabbitohs, they lost. I expected it would be a loss, and it's probably about the level of margin I thought it might be too, 34 points to 22. I'm actually a bit surprised. The Rabbitohs showed a bit more resilience than what I expected, and probably a little bit more surprised that the Sharks put on a few more points than I thought they might as well. But, Souths have got to do a bit of work now.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll be a hard week at training, I guess, for the Rabbitohs. As we said about the Cowboys, they can let in a lot of points. Well, the Rabbitohs, they're the worst defensive team of the season at the moment. And it just showed on the weekend with 34 points going to the Sharks' way. Look, the Rabbitohs, they had a lot of I guess you call it disruption throughout the game. I think Cameron Murray went off with a HIA, didn't return. I think Jai Gray went off with one as well. So they had a lot of interruptions with HIA throughout the game, and that can be very difficult to move players into different positions and the like. So it was a very difficult night for the Rabbitohs. The Sharks, look, there's one of your favourite teams. They've snuck up to the top of the ladder now with the Dolphins losing a couple. They're snuck up to the top of the ladder, and I guess they're just playing. They're snuck up there quietly, winning games and scoring points. Nico Hines just leading them around. Probably will get another 6 points in the Dally M tally competition, is it? I don't know, but Dally M medal. And yeah, the 16-6 at half time, so it probably still was anybody's game, I guess. They were still in the game, the Rabbitohs, but it was, as I said, too many disruptions and very tough for them to get back, and they lost the game.
Yeah, that's right. So that's not unexpected, I suppose. They were expected to lose, right? That's why I just can't understand the media pressure. Oh, he's got one more game to turn around, Jason Demetriou, or whatever. I'm getting tired of hearing about it, right? If he's going to get the sack, he'll get sacked. If he's not, he's not. I think South have already predetermined what they want in their head. Russell Crowe is paying the bills. Last time I checked, and he's going to have a big say in what happens anyway. The next game here, so this didn't surprise me. I picked the result there. West Tigers against the Dragons at Campbelltown. The Dragons got the win there, 24 points to 12. Not surprised. I think the Dragons are looking pretty good. I still think they're going to be down in the bottom few because I just think they've got a big job to do, a couple-of-year job. I think Shane Flanagan is up for it, and the players are showing that they've got the resilience and fight that he wants and needs, and probably just needs to top it up with some more quality players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you said there, Shane Flanagan is doing a great job at the Dragons at the moment. They're certainly a different team to what they were last year. They're still a little bit up and down in games, and by that I mean they can score some points and then let points in. They can have a great win and then have a bad loss. But they've been, I guess you could say, competitive in games, even the ones that they lost. But today they really turned it on. Zach Lomax, who has been in the news all year about leaving the club, it was reported during the week that starting next year he signed a 4-year deal with the Eels. Nothing confirmed yet. But he had an absolute blinder today. He scored a try, kicked 4 goals, I should say, and he was just, anytime Ben Hunt or anyone else, Kyle Flanagan, will put up a high kick, he was the one that was jumping up above the rest of the Tigers and just getting the ball. So he was really competitive today, and it's interesting to know that a player who wants to leave the club is playing he's probably been the Dragons' best player this season, and he wants to leave the club. So it's an interesting one there for the Tigers. Very disappointing. It was a sold out Campbelltown Stadium. I think the first time since 2005 that they've had a sellout. And look, this was on a difficult week for the Tigers. Club legend Keith Barnes passed away during the week, so they were honouring Keith at this game. There was a minute's silence before the start of the game. The players and coaches were wearing black armbands, and look, it was just really disappointing, the performance that they put in. I thought they would do better at Campbelltown, their first game there for the year, but it wasn't to be. The only highlight, I guess you could call it, for the Tigers was a great no-look pass from Api Coruscant to Big Stefano Utukamanu, who scored a try. So that was probably the highlight, if you could call it any highlights for the Tigers.
Yeah, they'll be happy enough with that, right? So they'll be disappointed because they'll be pegging these games as like potential wins. I think the Tigers are in actually a good part of the season. Like, they've got the Panthers next week. I think you could get the Panthers on the hop here because Panthers have just had a bye, freshened up, maybe a little bit flatter. I still don't think Penrith are probably only pumping about 75 to 80% of what they can do. So the thing is, right, that 80% is pretty good against a lot of sides. So you could get them playing not so good coming off the back of a bye. Or they might put 40 on you. So yeah, they need to be careful. West Tigers rolling forward. They got Broncos after that. I think they've got Broncos when they're a bit susceptible too. They've got a couple of sides there where they've got a chance. Then they got the Bulldogs. So really, 3 or 4 games, even against the Knights, they've got a decent little patch here where they could get some wins on board. So Dolphins, even the Cowboys like that, if they can go away, and they don't want to do a 66 to anything to the Cowboys, because when it happened last year, then they got whacked by the same in the return leg. So that's not really what you want to do. But they're really coming into like a 5 or 6 week stretch here where that might suit them to have some sides that are not playing their best, right? They might get a couple of wins out of this, which is going to strengthen their position too. And in this next game, what is going on here? The Raiders, I tipped them. They're up 14-10. The Titans just got ripped off a try. They're still 14-10, but wow. Seriously, are the Titans going to stuff my tips even more and get a win here? It looks like they might actually run them down and get the win, which is going to make me not happy because my footy tipping makes it look like I've never watched rugby league in my entire life.
Well, there's 16 minutes to go, and you could be right. The Titans may be able to sneak it right at the end. Look, Canberra, they scored 2 first-half tries, and they were flying at the start of the game, and you looked like they were in control, much like they were last week against Parramatta. And tonight against the Gold Coast, they just haven't really... I guess you could say turn it on like they did last week. The Gold Coast has stood up. There was a late change to their side. Tanner Boyd got dropped, and to make way for AJ Brimson went to 5'8". Kieran Foran went to halfback, and Khan Pereira came onto the wing, and Harley Smith-Shields came into the centres. So a little bit of changes there for the Gold Coast, and they needed to do something because they haven't won a game this year, and it looks like they're standing up in this game against Canberra. So this could go any way at the moment. Canberra attacking late in the second half.
Yeah, that's right. I think Des Hasler doesn't mind the project that's in front of him. He knew it wasn't going to be easy. Probably would have been hoping that the Titans will be up near the top 8, really, because they really should have made the top 8. Or, in my opinion, I thought they had the players to do it last year. Once Justin Holbrook got the flick, and when they were sitting 9th, I thought that was tough, and then they were never going to be able to do it. This year, well, it started slowly. I don't know. I can't completely blame Des Hasler for this. They should have been able to have some contributions. That's like keeping or letting players go, because I would have kept AJ Brimson for sure. So, an old mate that went to Toby Sexton that went to Canterbury as well, I would have kept all these half-decent players. I wouldn't have let a couple of them go, even though they're older and on the slide a bit, because these guys could have contributed to what they need to do in the job of the rebuild. Well, they've got some decent quality young guys, but they've got to build with some quality experienced players too. So it's a bit like West Tigers. You're going to carry someone like Justin Olam might not get signed by Penrith, right? But he goes to West Tigers and he's going to play a valuable contribution and a specific role. It's going to help them do a rebuild over the next couple of years.
Yeah, look, I think I had Gold Coast finishing around that 9th, 10th, 11th spot with a potential to crack the top 8 under new coach Des Hasler, but they have had a few major injuries this season already. Big Tino Fasil Malawi is out for the year with an ACL. David Fafita didn't start the year in first grade. He's come back now. I think could be his 3rd game back, I think, in first grade, and he's been starting off the bench as well, just trying to get that match fitness back up again. And Jaden Campbell, he missed the start of the year as well. He's back now. And so they've got a couple of players back, but they have lost a couple of players as well. So, look, they're just, I guess, trying to get used to a new coach as well in Des Hasler, bringing new systems into place and getting used to his coaching style. But as I said, they haven't won a game this year. This is probably, so far, their best performance of the season, I think.
Oh, yeah, it would be for sure. So, but yeah, I know they lost. Who did they lose? Someone injured at stadium. I'm trying to remember who it is. Yeah, I can't remember.
They lost Big Tino against the Bulldogs with the ACL.
No, they lost someone in the trial games for the year. So let's have a look. So yeah, now AJ Brimson is gone. So
he's playing AJ tonight. Brimson? No, he's playing tonight.
Yeah, someone else. I lost someone at the very start of the year, out injured, and can't remember who it was now. So one of their players is out at the start of the year for the whole year, and went, oh, there you go, there goes their season.
Yeah.
So pretty much gone. So, well, not gone, but like once I saw that, I went, well, they're going to go from being about at 9, 10, 11, 12. Now they're going to be like 14 to 15, right? So potentially they could be 17. I don't think South will finish on the bottom. I'd be surprised if they do. But then again, South have been able to do that in the past, win the minor premiership one year, become second last the next year. Point in case 1989. So when they won the minor premiership and then come second last the next year. So I wonder if they'll do it again. I don't think so. I think they've got too many good players to do it now. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how this all pans out.
They've got Keenan Palacia out until round 7 and Philip Sami out till round 8 with injuries, and as I said, Tino out for the year. So a couple of experienced first graders out there with injury coming back shortly in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so it'll be a big thing there to get their players. And we'll have a look how it all pans out for them. All right, what do you got on the Paracaid podcast this week, Troy?
I'll have a replay of this chat as per usual. I've got currently running a podcast chat with a fellow called Guy Wilson. Now, Guy is a big St George Dragons supporter, but he's also a Adelaide Rams supporter as well, a big advocate for them and trying to get them back into the NRL as well. He lives in Adelaide, so he's gone through all the history and collects all their merchandise and stuff, so an interesting chat with him. I'll have my tipping podcast come out. I've also got at the moment Tom from Retro Rugby League on Instagram talking about the Eels Anzac jersey that came out during the week as well, so that's an interesting chat. He's across all the jersey releases, so he certainly knows his stuff. And then I'll do a couple of podcast chats during the week for future episodes and have a new player-based interview come out on Thursday with a former player.
Yeah, I look forward to that. That'll be good as well. So I was out at Rugby League today. I think you would have seen on the social media platforms got there commentating out at Riverstone today. So I did Hawkesbury City up against Riverstone in the A-grade men's, so second division competition, and commentated the Penrith Women's Rugby League competition, which is up and running for the first time since 2021 today. Nice. And yes, St Mary's put a bit of a tap up on Riverstone, but St Mary's have like very good sides and been around for a little while. The Riverstone side are new. They've got a lot of potential, but they got played 58-0 today, unfortunately. But there's levels within the division, and they'll probably need some more clubs and sides to come in, and then they'll be able to level it out next couple of years, hopefully with divisions as well, where it levels out the quality and playing opportunities and that for the teams. But it was good to see both sides get out there and have a run, and Riverstone, they just had no football in the women's game, unfortunately for them, so it was a tough one.
Will then potentially in the next couple of years, Penrith, the Panthers, will they be applying for a NRLW licence, do you think, then?
So I think this is going to be the case, right? Penrith have had sides in the New South Wales Cup, but not as Penrith, right? So there's been a side from Glenmore Park, there's been sides from St Mary's, and there's been sides from Brothers as well. So this is the thing that St Mary's have got. They've had sides play when there's been no Penrith comp in the New South Wales Cup comp. So where do they go when they don't play New South Wales Cup? They come back and play local A-grade rugby league. So they are a high-quality team. They were a lot better than Riverstone, and Riverstone were not terrible, but Riverstone only had the ball about 4 times in any sort of half-decent position at all on the field, and St Mary's just had like 90% possession. They are very, very dominant. I would think if Penrith have a presence in a representative team or anything like that in New South Wales Cup level, or what do they call it, the Harvey Norman Shield for the women's competition, and also the NRLW. At the moment, there would be a large number of players that come from that St Mary's squad. They're pretty young, and they're very good quality players. So, and there's so much talent coming through in the Lisa Fiola Cup, which is under 17s, and Tasha Gale Cup, which is under 19s this year as well. So there is stacks there. I would think, I think they're saying the NRLW is going to expand next year by 2 teams. Penrith are not in that, but I do think they will have sides in the New South Wales Rugby League competition, and then they will push forward to getting the NRLW. So building the competition at the moment, it is a work in progress, but it's a very strategic and smart idea. I'd just like to see them get some more teams so that like they don't see big scores, because there are a couple of big scores in the women's games today, but there are a couple of more experienced sides than others. So fingers crossed it levels itself out a bit when they all play against each other a bit more, and we'll keep seeing the women's game grow.
Yeah, definitely. It's
all
growing
right.
and growing.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy, thanks for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. It was a good chat, and for anyone that wants to listen, I guess we're going to sit around and see what happens this week with Jason Demetriou. I can tell you now, we are going to have a different picture next week, whether that means he stays or wherever he goes. But I guarantee you, Russell Crowe won't let it just keep bubbling along in the background. He'll make a decision one way or another, whether he keeps Jason Demetriou or it moves on. So I think something will happen this week for sure.
Watch this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy, thanks for having a chat again, and look forward to having a chat with you on Friday night when I'll be out at Hawkesbury Show. For people who want to come out, please don't bring out, or if you want to come out, you can complain via message 0434 440 553. If Joey Manu's around, send him out. Like, I'm happy to sign a jersey for him to Dear Joey, so we'll encourage him to do his best in his career. So, yeah, if any South fans want to, yeah, that's right. If any South fans want to come out and tell me that I'm a South hater, come on out, right? So, or message in 0434 440 553. Happy to hear your opinion.
Well, you know, there's South supporters everywhere. But thank you very much, Duckman, and we'll chat on Friday. Thank you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. See you, Troy.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave